Oh no, Evan Rachel Wood. She doesn't understand why so many movie execs and funding companies are white men and why they don't want to fund her movies. So we need to let's have a conversation about racism. We'll have a conversation about privilege, and you're gonna enjoy it, trust me. First, check out this shirt, The Death of Censorship. So this is knocked over, Illuminati pyramid. I designed this thing, and then there was people in my Discord who suggested the logo. This Latin here is the motto for the U.S. Office of Censorship. It says "Silence Victory Accelerates," and it's been knocked over. And this is my shirt. I call it "The Death of Censorship," and it's just meant to be like a cool little graphic about censorship. Fuck yeah, censorship's bad. Fuck censorship. So, back to the story. Evan Rachel Wood doesn't get why the white men in the room rejected her movie pitch. Now, I believe PJ Media is right-wing, so naturally, they've got Twitchy on the side, which is also right-wing. So let's try and weed through this. We'll have a conversation about bias, and we'll try and be reasonable on what's going on. Actress Evan Rachel Wood has a project idea. In Hollywood, this isn't unusual. Actors often have ideas they pitch, usually with themselves involved in a creative way. Sometimes they're accepted, sometimes they aren't. Hollywood execs, it seems, aren't interested in just accepting a pitch because a fairly well-known actor is behind it. Kind of smart when you think about it. Yeah, that's true. There absolutely are instances of cronyism in every industry. That's a fact. We know that in Hollywood, if you're in the club, they're going to hook you up, for sure. And Evan Rachel Wood certainly is famous right now with Westworld being so popular, and she's in movies and all that stuff. So they said, but Wood has her pitch, and she's upset that it hasn't been accepted. Looking at her vent about it on Twitter, though, I kind of see the problem. So she tweeted, FYI, I have been pitching a film starring 4 amazing actresses, written by 2 women to be directed by me, for 2 years, to nothing but room after room of white men, and weirdly, no one has given it money. And we wonder why there is a bias in Hollywood. Your move, guys. Okay, first of all, if you're gonna pitch your movie and the rooms are always full of white men, it sounds like you are actively choosing to pitch to rooms of white men. I kind of don't understand this logic here, right? Is she saying that is she faulting herself? I'm not trying to be a dick. I actually think Evan Rachel Wood's pretty cool, and I think Westworld's pretty great. I haven't been to the second season as much. I actually only watched a few episodes, but it's good. First season was awesome. But I like Evan Rachel Wood. I think she's cool. But I'm not sure I understand what she's saying. She says, to nothing but room after room of white men. Right? To me, that sounds like she's faulting herself for doing that. You know what I mean? Imagine if she was talking about somebody else. Imagine if she said, FYI, so-and-so has been pitching a film, starring amazing actresses written by 2 women for 2 years to nothing but room after room of white men, and stop there. It sounds like she's criticizing someone. But she says, and weirdly, no one has given it money. I don't know what's weird about that. You're choosing who you're pitching it to. I don't know why they're not giving you money. I mean, there's probably literally I could imagine a million reasons why they might not give you money. She says, and we wonder why there's a bias in Hollywood. Your move, guys. Well, maybe your movie idea is bad. I mean, I've had a ton of ideas. I've probably pitched thousands of documentary ideas. When I worked at Vice, I had a million ideas. They didn't pick any of them. Literally, none of the ideas I had for Vice on HBO got picked up. I didn't get bent out about it. I wasn't imagining there was some secret cabal of people, at Vice like Shane and the people who ran HBO, twirling their mustache, laughing about how they're keeping down the non-white guy. No, they were just like, hey, here's why we don't think this one works. And I was like, yeah, okay. And you're always trying to find that good idea. I think there's a problem with this mentality that people have where they pass the blame off onto others. There is absolute sexism and racism. These things do exist. And I assure you, in Hollywood, you had people like Harvey Weinstein who straight up fucked that guy. And that was a huge problem in the industry. And people knew about it, and people needed to speak the fuck up to get that guy out of there. So I'm glad. So I think Ronan Farrow came out and busted this guy's balls and got rid of him. That dude's a monster, and good riddance to people like that. But in this instance, I don't see why the race and gender of the individual has anything to do with her movie. She hasn't posted about what her movie's about, right? So there's actually some more here. So let's go down. It says, PJ Media has their opinion. Let's not forget that while Wood may be a skilled actress, she has absolutely no experience as a director. At least she has none based on her IMDb listing. I'll get into why that matters in a moment. First, there's an argument that it will star 4 amazing actresses. That's while it's in its planning stages. Once dates are set and things solidify, that can change. All 4 of those actresses might have scheduling conflicts and have to pull out of the project. Just because they're attached right now doesn't mean they'll end up in the final project. That makes their attachment nice, but not something an exec would necessarily want to bank on. Yeah, for sure. You know, I don't know how Hollywood works, and this person could probably be wrong. I don't know who this is, why they think they have a better understanding than Tom Knighton. I mean, Evan Rachel Wood works in Hollywood, so I'd imagine she's probably got more experience than this guy. But his opinion is welcome. I'm willing to hear both people out. Sometimes it's good to get an outside perspective. Honestly, I kind of think Evan Rachel Wood knows more about it, so I'm going to weigh her opinion a little higher. But I also think she might be a little upset because she hasn't gotten her script picked up. She says they're amazing actresses. She doesn't say anything about popularity, name recognition, or anything of the sort. Yeah, they might be amazing, but they might be literal nobodies. Like, I'm not saying that's like, you know, if you're not famous, you're not important. But no, I mean, like, brand power works, and people want to attach people like actors in movies that are famous so the movie can sell. So 2 female writers. I mean, I feel like personally, I don't feel like that matters. Is the writing good? You know, I wouldn't hold it against somebody for being, you know, female or anything like that. As noted above, she's not shown any experience in directing. Now, that's not unusual. No one has an IMDb credit as a director until they start directing something, so I get it. You gotta start somewhere. However, Wood is probably looking at people like Clint Eastwood, Mel Gibson, and even Ben Affleck as actors who successfully made their transition to working both sides of the camera. No, I'm gonna say let's get rid of this. You don't know what she's thinking. That's ridiculous. You know, I think she's upset. Also, you see this ad right here? It's because I bought one of those self-whipped cream dealies. I think that's hilarious. Like, you can see the ads in my videos and then know what I'm looking to buy. I'm trying to get these little cartridges. This one was too expensive. I'm not spending that much money on cartridges. Anyway, back to the more important aspect of the story. Not whether or not I'm making homemade whipped cream with a little bit of cinnamon and vanilla in it. Which I am, by the way. And I got like almond bread and other awesome stuff. So then he goes on to talk about Affleck being a star. And all this is an assumption. I don't care about any of this. He's making assumptions here, and that's stupid. By all means, make your assumptions. I'll but I don't want to get into that stuff. Evan Rachel Wood added, one guy I was pitching to actually said, quote, well, you're a 30-year-old mom. What gets you out of the house to see a movie? And then in all caps, as if all women are just at home feeding babies and have no lives. And this is another example that kind of startles me in terms of like lack of self-awareness, or, you know, this tweet right here might show exactly why they won't pick her movie up. 30-year-old mothers, that's a demographic, okay? I don't know, perhaps because we're losing context here, perhaps this guy really was being snide and condescending and was like, well, you're a 30-year-old mom. What gets you out to the house to see a movie? Or something rude like that. Or maybe he was like, well, you're a 30-year-old mom. What gets you out of the house to see a movie? Which is just a general question about demographics. If someone said to me, well, you're a 30-year-old man. What motivates you to see a movie? I'd think about it and say, well, you know, it's usually when I'm bored, right? Movies are expensive. Going out and seeing a movie all the time, not something you really want to do too much. But, you know, for like Marvel movies, I'm a huge fan. That's a great entertainment. So, you know, pretty much every Marvel movie, I'm there. I just saw Ant-Man and the Wasp, loved it. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp might be the funniest Marvel movie ever. The villains were a little, but yeah, I loved it. If someone asked me that, I'd be like, But to see that she gets offended because someone asks her about a demographic question might be a reason her movie doesn't get picked up. You know, perhaps when she's talking about this movie, these people are thinking about her understanding of marketing and whether or not people will pay to see the movie. You have to understand, if you're making a movie, it costs money. And if you're going to spend money, you want to make money back. And if she doesn't understand marketing, and they said to her, like, well, you're a 30-year-old mom, what gets you out of the house to see a movie? And she gets all angry and offended, they might be like, clearly, Evan doesn't understand what's going to drive people to spend money on her movie. And we don't know if we'd like to risk our money on a movie from somebody who's so, you know, not understanding of how marketing works. 30-year-old mothers, general demographic, right? And it's important, too, when you're talking about selling a product, you ask someone about who they are and why someone would want their product. Watch Shark Tank, you know? And they don't do this all the time, but they'll say, like, why would someone want to buy this? Who is your demographic? Who are you selling to? That's totally normal. So let me tell you a story. I know a guy, and I'm going to try and keep this vague because I don't want to identify anybody. It's a personal story. But we were out and about, and some dude was going to run to a fast food restaurant to use a bathroom, and the other guy said, hey, when you're over there, can you want to grab me a burger? And the guy who was going to the bathroom was black. And so he said basically, fuck you. He's like, what the fuck do I look like, man? Fuck off. I'm not getting you your fucking food. And then he goes to the bathroom, comes back, and I'm talking to him, and I was like, what happened? Like, I saw you yelling at dude, and he thought it was racist. He said, man, can you believe him asking me to go get food for him? Like, that's racist, dude. What the fuck? And I was like, how I don't understand, man. How is that racist? And he was like, that guy's white and he's asking me to get his food. And I was like, people ask me to like grab him a cheeseburger from the shop all the time. Like, I don't understand. And then he tried to explain to me that it was racist. And I kind of felt like, I'm sure this dude has experienced racism, and so he's very sensitive to things he think might be racism. I'm pretty sure our friends weren't being racist. They simply were asking one of their friends to grab him a cheeseburger. And so what concerns me with stories like this is that Evan Rachel Wood is probably she's hearing this all the time. The more you beat someone down and tell them they're a victim, and this is why they can't succeed, well then she goes out on Twitter and says this stuff. And I'm sure she's got other people reaffirming her belief, saying, yep, it's racism, it's sexism. And then you get a bunch of people trying to solve a problem that probably isn't that bad or might not even exist. There's racism, there's sexism, hands down, and I'm sure she's been a victim of it. But my concern is, she tweeted out that she said that someone asked her, as a 30-year-old mom, what gets you out of the house to see a movie? That sounds like a regular old marketing question. That's really important for someone who's going to reflect on a product they're producing. And she got really mad about it. And made it seem like the guy was insinuating that all women just sit at home and eat babies, when he never said that. He just says, what motivates you, what gets you out of the house to see a movie? When I see that, it says to me that she's got a chip on her shoulder. Maybe her movie isn't good. Maybe her actresses are no names. Maybe people are worried about investing in someone with no experience. Or maybe when they ask her a simple question about marketing, she gets angry and they say, look, if she's not going to address a marketing question, that's really bad for us. So I think there's a big problem when it comes to social justice. And one of the things that I've told people is that I feel like social justice activists are kind of like an autoimmune disorder. There was a point where we had a racism problem, really bad. We still have a lot of racism problems, but we had segregation, we had slavery, we had civil war. And a group of people fought to end that. And those are like white blood cells, actively attacking this problem of racism. And they did it. They got rid of almost all of it. There's still a little bit here and there, but for the most part, we're very much cured of a lot of the really egregious racism, like segregation, slavery, internment camps. Now we have equal opportunity laws. But what happens is these people, this ideology, this immune system to fight back against this issue still exists and grows, but the problem goes away. Do anti-racists then leave? No, they keep fighting. And now we have essentially like an autoimmune disorder where the white blood cells have started attacking the body. They're attacking cells that aren't bad. So like when you get an autoimmune disease, I don't know exactly which one it is, maybe it's lupus or something, and your white blood cells are attacking your body's normal cells, that's like what these social justice extremists are. Everything's racist, everything's sexist, and all they're doing is attacking normal people and regular things like comedy when it's not really that much of a problem. And this, in my opinion, is an example of that. Now, I want to end by saying, it's just my opinion, and I really do believe that Evan's probably been a victim of sexism in the industry, hands down, especially with what we know about Harvey Weinstein. There's a lot of women who have been victimized, assaulted, lost opportunities because of sick fuckers like Weinstein. And I think Evan Rachel Wood's pretty cool. Personally, I just would like to see her be a bit more pragmatic about the issues. Clearly, she's angry over something. And so, it is what it is. The last thing I'm going to say is, don't at people. I put in the description of my video, please don't at these people, the at symbol, and someone thought I was censoring the word attack. No, I'm saying don't at them. Don't tweet at them saying, like, I'm insulting them or something. Like, because people do that. Someone did that to Peter Walker, and they were like, Peter Walker, the slimy journalist, which I called him, it's hands down, he's welcome to see it. But then when people keep tweeting it at him, like making sure he knows, all it does is make the problem worse. I want to criticize someone for something I think they did wrong, but overall, I think Evan Rachel Wood's pretty cool. You know what I mean? So we can criticize this one thing that's worthy of criticism and still recognize that she does amazing work. Westworld is awesome, and I hope everybody understands that we're going to remain civil. I hope we remain civil, and we can criticize each other and still respect each other, right? Right. Stick around. Another video is about to upload basically right now.